The Ragin' Cajuns are going to be tough to beat. We're going to need those ties to be overtime wins, and it's just not your strongest area. But improve there and in penalty kill goals, and we won't be the only team showing an interest in you for long." Fox forced his mouth to move. "Thank you, sir," he managed to say as they reached the boards, and Coach Tremblay held out a hand for Fox to shake. Moving his stick and tucking his gloved hand under his other arm, he pulled his hand free to shake the coach's before turning and heading down to the locker room. He didn't let himself sag until he was safely inside. Bobby had already cleared out by the time he got there, so he had the place to himself. Thank fuck. They'd held the goalies for the end, of course, so the other players had gone home to celebrate or commiserate. Fox checked the messages on his phone, knowing there would be texts from his friends for him to join them. Most of them had been through the process enough times that they were familiar with the disappointment, or they'd already had their brief time in the big leagues and were on their way down again because of injuries or age. Many had simply gone home to their wives and children, but they weren't the teammates he was closest to. Most of his closest friends had been picked up to play the preseason with the team, and while he desperately wanted to drink, he wasn't in the mood to drink with any of them. He didn't want their pity or their reassurances, not this time. And he wasn't ready to go home. It hadn't been the same since Echo moved out some months before. He'd been crashing with his teammates more often than not. His trust fund had kicked in on his 21st birthday, and unlike the rest of his siblings, he had actually started dipping into it regularly. They all had other sources of income to fall back on, endorsements, spokesperson gigs, and paid appearances. And then there was Echo, who was developing her own athletic wear line. He needed to move out, and while his minor league salary wasn't enough for the kind of place he wanted, his trust fund would make up the difference, if he let it. He didn't want to rely on that money, not in that way. It was tantamount to admitting failure, and he wasn't ready to throw in the towel just yet, or admit that to anyone, especially not his family. He was the only Coulter to never reach his full potential. Congratulations to him.
Sasha Tennyson knew better than to answer the phone when assholes called, but this particular asshole couldn't be avoided. She answered on the third ring. "Hi, Dad." "Where are you? I called your office and was told you weren't there." She bit her bottom lip to keep from groaning. She hated it when he checked up on her. It was as if he thought she was a child who needed his protection, or worse, his berating. "I'm just waiting to see a friend. I'll be headed back to the office in a little bit," she replied with a sigh. She shouldn't have answered. She didn't have the patience for this conversation right now. "Why you insist on working there is beyond me. It's like I never taught you better," he scolded. It was times like this when she truly hated him. Ever since her mother left, Sasha had been her father's special project. The man seriously needed his own hobbies. "Dad, we've been through this. This is what I want to do." "We both know you're not going to listen to me anyway. When have you ever done that? Exhibit A, that loser you're dating." This was such a tired conversation. They'd had it 1,000,000 times, and nothing was ever going to change. Her father was an old-school misogynist who believed that the only place for a woman was in the kitchen, barefoot and pregnant. How her mother had dealt with him for so long, Sasha had no idea. After all, her mother was a traditional debutante. She was the whole package. But eventually, the pressure of having to be the perfect athlete's wife had gotten to her, and she'd left when Sasha was 8 years old. At this point, Sasha understood why her mother had left and didn't blame her. What she didn't understand was why her mother left her behind. Whatever, it's water under the bridge now. The problem this time, though, was that her father was right about her loser boyfriend. Ryan was a total dipshit. She knew it. His jealousy had gotten out of control lately. She needed to do something about it, but right now she was in avoidance mode. You know how. You're just too lazy and tired. Man, was she tired. Between her internship at TV and Television Network, her job at the restaurant, and her schoolwork, she didn't have time to breathe, let alone cater to her boyfriend's every whim. Or her father's, for that matter, even though her father was right. Ryan was convenient and available. He'd long outlived his welcome, but she was too exhausted to make any changes. Yeah, like that's a good reason.